the Big Ten opener between the 24th ranked and last 12 meetings and 44 of the last 45 dating back to 28th ranked Wyatt Ingham and Harvey. And some quick work early on here at 197. Again, the marquee matchup will be at heavyweight right after this, but you would love to see if you're with the Wisconsin Badgers get a quick win here and try and take an early lead, but Ludington, an early takedown, trying to turn the tides early.
He got in on a quick single leg, used it to his advantage, was able to get the takedown and work through it. You know Ludington has been working on that in the room leading up to this, coming off of the Soldier Salute, where he had an impressive performance, and now he strikes first against Ingham.
Took 5th place at the Soldier Salute. A true freshman from Tinton Falls, New Jersey. Good mat return from Ludington.
And one of the things we see a lot with the Hawkeyes when it comes to being on top, Iowa's riding style, it isn't very flashy. It's very methodical and suffocating. Their aim is to break your will, so that way they can turn you over.
Wyatt Ingham, a redshirt freshman from Amory, Wisconsin. Last season as a true freshman, posted a 3-4 overall record. This season he is 7-3.
He's good for the Badgers when it comes to bonus rate percentage. He has one of the more higher end bonus rates that I've seen at 72.73%. So he has secured bonus points for the Badgers in every time he stepped out, to the tune of 2 pinfalls, 2 tech falls, and 3 major decisions in those victories.
Ingham trying to battle back to his feet, but able to get a 2-point reversal and bring this match back within 1.
That's just good mat awareness from Ingham, recognizing the fact that he's side to side in a scrambled position with Ludington and just able to reach down and pick that ankle to get that reversal.
They'll go out and reset center mat. 3-2 in favor of the unranked Harvey Ludington. We mentioned his 5th place finish at the Soldier Salute. Also, took 1st place at the Luther Open. Picked up 3 pins in the Luther Open. A good start to his season and his career. Nearly able to get back to his feet, but Ingham able to fall back on top.
That's just a good follow there from Ingham. One of the drills a lot of coaches do, follow drill. You have your bottom partner in the room moving. And for the top person, it's a drill for them to try to follow. As we see here, Ingham trying to get back points.
And deep in on that shoulder. Still no points yet. Coach Bono calling for it. Ingham still deep in on the shot. Now he's picking up. Good turn there by Ludington to get back to his feet. Looking for 2 points himself. Still not giving it to him. Able to hang on inside the mat with his toes. Ingham did pick up those 3 back points. He takes the lead.
This is where mat awareness comes into play. If you're Ludington, you're on the edge of the mat. You need that takedown to get back in front, or the reversal. I don't know if they gave him one, and they did give him one for an escape, and there's the 3 takedown as they go off the mat.
Big points for Harvey Ludington with 19.6 to go in the opening period.
You made a mention of Chris Bono wanting the back points. Referee right there to make sure that shoulder's past that 90 degrees for the back points. You can wish it as much as you want, but if it's not meeting criteria, you're not going to get it.
A massive turn of events for Ludington. Looked like he was going to get turned, did give up 3 back points, but then picked up 3 points of his own to retake the lead. And an exciting first period at 197. Ingham trying to break free of Ludington's grasp, and he does. And that's how the first period will end.
Right there at the end before he gave up that escape, Ludington did get hit with a stall warning. You have a certain amount of time when you're on top to either return them to the mat or cut them. Unfortunately for Ludington, he didn't get to it in time.
So a 7-6 lead for Ludington as we get ready for the second period. Just 11 seconds of riding time for Ludington. He got the first takedown, but then Ingham able to pick up the reversal and reverse that riding time.
7-6 match. You got to keep an eye out now with that stall warning. Another stall call on Ludington would make this match tied at 7-all.
Couple of mat returns from Harvey. And a quick start to this historic matchup between the Hawkeyes and the Badgers. They do not give him the escape point. Former Hawkeye Tony Cassiope asking for it. Now in the corner with the Wisconsin Badgers.
If you're in that Badgers corner, you're either arguing for the escape or another stall call. With how long Ludington was just sitting there with Ingham, as we see again, just trying to rack that up. Escape this time for Ingham.
Tie match, 7-all. Second period at 197. Now Ingham in on a single leg. Nice job by Ludington to get to his feet, and they wipe off the 3 points.
No three, and the reason why there's no three is that left arm of Ludington. He's got a deep whizzer in, but look at Ingham now. He's trying to lock up a cradle on the edge of the mat. Could potentially get back points if he can bring them in. We'll see what Ingham does here on the edge of the mat.
Able to keep his toes inside the circle to keep this attack alive. Ludington doing all he can to make sure 3 points don't come out of it. They go out of bounds. They will have to reset at center mat.
Still neutral, so good work and defense from there. Ludington there with that whizzer that you saw. Because he had that, saves a takedown.
Good shoot there by Ingham. Ludington tries to fight back.
This nice little shot, reshot there from Ludington. Ingham with the shot, Ludington countering with a shot of his own, but now we're back up in neutral position.
Short time here in the second period, all knotted up at 7. Ludington in on a shot.
He's got it deep. He's got to plant that hand to the mat and circle towards that leg to try to hook it. And if you're Ingham, what you're doing right now is good. You know, you got a deep waist, or tight waist, trying to knock him over, but could be just wrestling for the stall here at the, or stalemate, I should say, here at the end of period number 2.
It will end still tied at 7. Ludington, 42 seconds of riding time. See if that comes into play here as we get ready for the third period. Ludington will go down, so that'll help with the riding time.
He's got 2 minutes to try to find an escape on Ingham. He was able to get one earlier and then turned it right into another takedown. But your first move on the whistle can't just be a slow, methodical movement of the hands. You got to be explosive underneath, especially wrestling a guy like Ingham.
Sprawls out Ludington. And now Ludington will have to work hard here to get back to his feet, as Ingham's been able to break him down off the whistle.
Now Ingham, he's doing a good job. He's going to that claw series that Kyle Dake made famous. Kyle Dake, 4-time national champion for Cornell. But now there's an escape, and Ingham right in on the leg, dumping him to his hip.
Trying to keep hold of Ingham to avoid the 3 points. Ludington has a 1-point lead after the escape, but Ingham's the one right back on the attack. Ludington hanging on.
Right now, Ludington's trying to wrestle for a stalemate, or if he can come out on top of this in better position. High hips always win in wrestling in scramble situations.
Ingham back on top, spinning around, looking for 3 points. He's got him right on the edge of the mat.
That is just beautiful chain wrestling there from Ingham. Able to get his leg free and then jump sides and go right into him. And as you see, he's good mat awareness from Ingham, dragging that toe in to wind down more clock.
Just hanging on to the edge of the mat. Ludington trying to crawl his way out. He'll finally get the whistle and then go back neutral. 10-8 Wisconsin, 25.7 on the clock.
Riding time not a factor here. Ludington needs an escape and a quick takedown or even a reversal and then a ride out to at least maybe send this match to overtime.
He's gonna have to move quickly.
His first move is going to be very crucial. The first move is everything at this level.
Trying to spin around for the reversal. Ingham stays square with the hips.
Ludington looking for a switch there. I think he's expended everything he has in the gas tank, but if he can find something, he's got 10 seconds to do it.
And Ingham staying on top and will hang on for a 10-8 decision victory. A big takedown in the third period. Fireworks to start the match. But Ben Keeter's schedule ahead is a gauntlet, and this is just the beginning of it with a top 10 matchup.
A gauntlet. That's putting it nicely. It is an absolutely insane stretch of wrestling that includes matches against number 3 ranked Nick Feldman of Ohio State, number 4 AJ Ferrari of Nebraska, number 7 Connor Doucette of Oklahoma State, number 8 Tay Gadali of Michigan, number 10 Coy Hopke of Minnesota, and finally number 15 Cole Mirasola of Penn State. That is an insane stretch of wrestling.
And it kicks off tonight. This is his first match since the Iowa State duel last year at this point. But this is his first true match back on the mat in competition. Good scramble there from Braxton Amos to avoid the 3 points. Amos, two-time NCAA qualifier. Last year did not compete, but is 10-1 this season, a redshirt junior, 10-1 to start the season.
He actually hasn't wrestled since the 2022-23 season. The year before last year, as you mentioned, he took the year off, had a red shirt. The year before that, he actually took an Olympic red shirt to try to make his run at the Olympics. So he's back in the lineup for the Badgers and looking to try to make a name for himself, as I've said already, in a deep field at heavyweight.
Ben Keeter, just a sophomore from right here in Iowa City, an undefeated high school record, 4-time state champion, 7th in the history of Iowa high school wrestling. One of the highest recruits the Iowa Hawkeyes have had in recent memory.
I'd say he's almost not at the level of Spencer Lee, but he still is a highly touted recruit and a good stay-at-home get for the Hawkeyes.
No score, just over a minute remaining in the opening period.
This is such good high-level hand fighting. They're not shooting that much. They're more trying to force a bad step. Especially at heavyweight, you take a bad step and your center of gravity gets off balance, you are in deep trouble.
Amos heavy on the head against Keeter. Wearing him down early on in the match.
You know, both these wrestlers trying to get head position. You know, whoever usually gets that head position usually wins that exchange battle here in neutral and is able to get to their shot. Usually cleaner than your opponent.
Under 5 seconds remaining. Some last second hand fighting, but the first period will conclude with no score. Amos will go down.
You know, we mentioned Keeter's remaining schedule. Amos doesn't have no slouch of a schedule remaining either. He'll see Hopke of Minnesota, he'll see Gadali of Michigan, he'll see Feldman of Ohio State, and he also has one non-conference match that he'll see number 11th ranked Wyatt Volker of Northern Iowa at the end of the season.
The heavyweights just seem so stacked this season. That'll be 1 point escape for Amos. Able to roll through, nearly able to pick up 2 points on the reversal, but Keeter back to his feet.
Nice little Granby roll there from Amos. Keeter doing a good job of getting in a position where he's not on his back from that Granby roll. And now we're back up to neutral.
For Braxton Amos, what would a win here against 5th-ranked Keeter mean for his season, as Amos is in on a single leg shot? Keeter trying to stay on his feet.
There's a nice little transition there. He started with a double leg, but transitioned to the single leg. Good defense there from Keeter. A win for Amos over a top 5 heavyweight. He throws himself immediately into the conversation of somebody to keep an eye out for as this Big Ten schedule progresses. Even when we get to that later month of March at the Big Tens and maybe even Nationals.
A huge match for both of these heavyweights, as Ben Keeter trying to live up to the hype around his name, especially early on. I mean, undefeated in high school, highly recruited, decided to stay home with the Hawkeyes, trying to live up to all the hype.
Well, even as a redshirt sophomore, Ben Keeter very well could be the future of this heavyweight division at Nationals. He moves so quickly. He's a dominant wrestler at heavyweight, maybe for somebody who's not even weighing in at a full 285.
Short time, 1-0 lead for Amos, just the lone escape point. And that will be the score going into the third period. And this only means fireworks in this third period.
See, when you usually when you think of fireworks when it comes to a wrestling match, you're thinking high scoring, big moves, all explosiveness. This is a firework heavyweight match. You might not think 1-0, 1-1 would be something like that. No. Especially in a deep field with talented heavyweight wrestlers, you're going to see this kind of wrestling a lot.
And all throughout the match, it's just been a chess match of who can get head position, who can wear down the other faster and earlier on. It's all going to lead to what happens in the next minute and a half. Tied at 1. Escape point for Ben Keeter.
Both these wrestlers have been so heavy on the head so far in this match. You've seen them attempt their snap downs. They get each other moving. It's who's just going to find that takedown to secure what could be a potential win.
Ben Keeter, when he was first recruited, was a two-way player, a linebacker for the football team. Gave up football to focus on wrestling. Wants to bring home another national title to Iowa City. Braxton Amos right now is the only one standing in his way of continuing that journey.
Another similarity between these two, both of them, their lone losses on the year, both have come to the #1 ranked wrestler at this weight, Younger Bastida of Iowa State. Keeter lost to Bastida 11-4 at the Cyhawk duel, while at the Cyclone Invitational, Amos lost to Bastida 5-4 in a much closer match.
30 seconds remaining in the match, still tied at 1. Both heavy on the head. Keeter trying to break out. 15 seconds remaining. Who will take the final shot to end the third period?
I think they might be content with just sending this to overtime.
One shot. Amos able to hang on, and Keeter stays out of the takedown, and we're headed to sudden victory.
Important note here. I almost cut you off there. I'm sorry.
All good.
Right there on that shot, while he defended it, heading into overtime, Keeter does have a stall warning, and it's first point scored. If Keeter gets hit with another stall, that's a point, and Amos wins the match.
Keeter going to have to move here to avoid that. Amos in on a shot, has the single leg wrapped up. Keeter able to stay out of it, in on a re-attack. Amos right back to work. Keeter battling for position and back to neutral.
Do-si-do between the heavyweights, shot after shot, reshot after reshot after reshot. These two heavyweights making it exciting here in overtime.
A minute 15 remaining in sudden victory. Amos in on a shot. Keeter's got the single leg. Can he get back to his feet?
He's got
Keeter crawling back up. Sweep single. Battling for position. Doesn't quite have him yet. 3-point takedown. Ben Keeter with the victory.
He needed to elevate that leg and trip it or steamroll right through Amos.
For Wisconsin, got the 10-8 decision over Harvey Ludington. Then Ben Keeter at heavyweight. Sudden victory takedown over Braxton Amos. We're tied at 3 as now we flip the script, go to 125 for Wisconsin. It's 11th ranked Nicolar Rivera. And for the Iowa Hawkeyes, it's the redshirt freshman Kian Hernandez.
It'll be intriguing to see how Hernandez wrestles this match. He could get a very big upset over Rivera if he's able to go out, get to his offense, and just dominate from whistle to whistle.
Hernandez from Billings, Montana, 15 and 5 career record. This season, 8-2 overall. Did compete at the Soldier Salute and picked up 4 big wins, a couple of losses, but the biggest one against his own teammate, Joey Cruz, to end his Soldier Salute appearance.
Definitely had a good Soldier Salute. This is his second appearance in Carver Hawkeye Arena. He made a start last year against Ohio State where he wrestled Ben Divino. I know that name sounds familiar to a lot of you, as it should be. Ended up with a tech fall loss in that one, but he's back hoping to get his first win here in Carver Hawkeye Arena.
As for Rivera, redshirt junior from Stoughton, Wisconsin. Last year posted a 24-7 overall record, 17-3 regular season, 5-3 in Big Ten competition. This season is 9-1 overall.
That lone loss coming to Utah Valley's Bridger Ricks in sudden victory, 11-8. Bridger Ricks actually lost to Dean Peterson at the Journeyman Uncivil War back before, Christmas break started.
Takedown for Rivera. Good scramble, but Rivera will win that war there and take an early lead in the first period.
Look for him to put on a tough ride here. He's going to a cross wrist ride, trying to get a tilt here. Good defense there from Hernandez to not give up the back points. But look for Rivera to try to get back to those tilts to try to get those swipes.
Hernandez just trying to play defense here, make sure he doesn't get turned. Rivera still controlling the wrist. Hernandez can't get back to his feet. That left arm of Rivera, Hernandez has to take it over his head instead of just holding on to it right there. You'll end up getting zapped with a stall warning. But Nicolar Rivera, he finished 4th last year at the Big Tens. He's a force to be reckoned with in this 125-pound division. Went 3-2 at the NCAA championships as well. Definitely looking to make some noise at NCAAs as he takes a 3-0 lead into the second period, over 1:22 of riding time in his favor. For Kian Hernandez, just his second start at Carver Hawkeye Arena. What is a mindset for a kid like him who doesn't have a lot of experience on the mat on this big of a stage?
If I was Hernandez, my mindset would be, I'm getting the opportunity to step out in front of a great crowd and start for the team I chose to come to. I need to go out and give it my all, especially against a top 25 ranked opponent. If I give anything short of my all, it's not going to chalk up to a good day.
Rivera back to his feet in the escape point, up 4-0, and he's back in on an attack. Hernandez trying to sprawl out, stay out of 3 points. Able to grab the torso of Rivera to avoid the 3-point takedown. Rivera right back to his attack, and a 3-point takedown. Thunderous slam to the mat.
Right before he ripped off that shot, you saw him drop his level. He almost like a fake shot to get Hernandez to try to bait, and it worked out in Rivera's favor. He went after that shot immediately afterwards, ends up getting the 3-point takedown.
Now looking for a roll and some points here. Hernandez locked up. Rivera still deep in on the shot. We'll have to reset.
Hernandez has the boots in. you might be able to hear Coach Terry Brands off to my side trying to argue that Rivera needs to pick a side to cover. He can't just cover both hips. While he is correct, he is just primarily on that left side of Hernandez's body.
There's a stall on Hernandez. With a short time here in the second period.
Rivera got a high ankle ride. Look for him to elevate that leg and hip in.
Second period will expire. 7-0 lead for Rivera.
Two minutes and 20 seconds of riding time for Nicolas Rivera. And he's going to go on top and try to increase that. We see a caution there from Rivera. You can get away with a couple of those before you start giving up points.
Third period underway. Hernandez has some work to do if he wants to fight back, but Rivera looking for bonus points here to give Wisconsin a lead on the team score. Hernandez trying to get back to his feet, but Rivera cuts him down.
Rivera has put in a beautiful ride on top as we see him go to that claw made famous by Kyle Dake. I've seen the claw so much in the college level. It works so well. It's a great ride. And now with the riding time he's built up and the time left, Rivera has the riding time point locked. It is essentially an 8-0 match. And he currently has a major decision for the Badgers. If he wants to keep that major decision, he's going to put a tough ride on those last minute 15 on Hernandez.
Coach Bono not happy with that call. It's a stall warning on Rivera. Bono hollering at the referees about that call.
You're never gonna 100% agree with everything the ref calls, but at the end of the day, they have final say, and unless it goes to a replay, they're not gonna change their minds.
Hernandez struggling to get back to his feet. Rivera looking for some points here. Trying to get another tilt in with under a minute remaining in the third period. Trying to pick, well, we'll have the major decision wrapped up, but looking for more.
Looks like Rivera's got a boot in.
Has two near fall, and that all but locks up the major for Rivera.
He has time to try to get more back points or even a fall. Hernandez trying to do a good job of defending these boots, but Rivera's very high up.
Hernandez able to get out, does pick up an escape point. Under 20 seconds remaining. Hernandez trying to make the most of his opportunity, wraps up the ankle, three-point takedown. Looking for one more return.
And that takedown, unless he gives up a reversal here, scramble situation, it's one. That's going to make it 10-4, and with the 3 minutes and 48 seconds of riding time, that's going to be 11. Hernandez avoids the major decision as of now, but Coach Bono,
he's going to challenge it.
He's going to challenge the takedown.
He wants the reversal. It would be an extra point for Wisconsin if it does turn into a major.
Or they're challenging locked hands. One of the two. They're either challenging the takedown or they're challenging locked hands.
Yep, so now it's cleared up 10-4, so he got the escape plus the locked hands.
That makes a lot of sense.
So right now it's a 7-point lead with the riding time. And Hernandez is going to hang on top.
And with the point, that's going to make it 11.
They didn't update the scoreboard, but I think you're right. It should be 11-4 with that final point awarded at the end.
Well, still avoids the major decision.
It does. So Rivera gets the decision win, but Hernandez after all the mess, does avoid the major, and Wisconsin will take a 6-3 lead. Here's the big ranked matchup, 133. 14th ranked Zan Fugit and 3rd ranked Drake Ayala.
Like we talked about earlier, look for Fugit to try to close the gap on Ayala. You know, this year really hasn't gone the way Ayala was expecting. Sitting at 4-3 on the season. Not the kind of 7-match start you'd expect out of the 2-time runner-up.
Still ranked within the top 5 and still definitely in the running for chasing down a national title. But with some of those unexpected losses, it certainly is not the start Hawkeye fans were expecting from Ayala, but has a chance here against Zan Fugit to go out there and get another ranked win.
Indeed he does, and it'll help hopefully put Ayala back on the high horse or give him that confidence boost that he could be needing after, you know, being 4-3 heading into Christmas break.
This is his first match since that loss in Iowa State against 6th ranked at the time Evan Frost in an 11-5 decision.
In his 3 losses, that's who Ayala finds himself behind. Nice little go behind there from Fugit to get the takedown on Ayala. He's now scored more points than he did in his last match against Ayala at Nationals last year.
Placed 4th at the NCAA Championships, finished 9th at the Big Tens. And Ayala trying to drag him out, and he does. We'll bring him back to center mat, but a quick start for Fugit. A 3-0 lead after a takedown against Drake Ayala. Again, last year finished runner-up at the NCAA Championships, lost to Lucas Bird of Illinois at the Big Ten Championships and the National Championships.
We saw them go to ultimate tiebreaker in that NCAA Finals with Bird getting the win via riding time.
Ayala earns the escape.
We talked about Evan Frost. We talked about Lucas Bird, his other loss on the year to Ben Davino of Ohio State down at the National Duels, where he lost 10-4. And, you know, here in about 3 weeks, first week of February, the Hawkeyes go out to Columbus. He'll get a rematch with Davino and try to get some revenge off that previous loss.
That is definitely going to be a marquee matchup to see those two go at it again. And Drake Ayala looking for some revenge. Fugit dancing around Ayala. Can't get into that leg.
The thing I've noticed with Fugit so far in this opening period, he's been really good at that shot-reshot, the counters to Ayala. Ayala shoots, Fugit's right there behind him with a shot of his own. That's what led to the 1 takedown we've seen so far in the first period.
Short time in the opening period, and Fugit will carry a 3-1 lead into the second. For Fugit, just a redshirt sophomore, 8-2 this season. What a win! What would a win against a top 5 opponent here mean for his season?
One, it would solidify himself as getting revenge on Drake Ayala. And secondly, it throws him into that conversation of Big Ten wrestlers at 133. You know, we've mentioned Bird, we've mentioned Davino. We also have Ayala. A win for Fugit would put him right up there with those wrestlers and could be someone to keep an eye on when it comes to the Big Tens.
Especially under head coach Chris Bono, really working with this Wisconsin program, trying to bring him back into the upper echelon of the Big Ten. And Big Ten is the wrestling conference, so be able to put yourself with those top teams like the Iowas, like the Ohio States and the Penn States, that is nothing to sneeze at. This would be a massive statement for the Badgers if they're able to pick up a couple of big wins here in Iowa City.
Absolutely, escape point there for Ayala. Looked like he's trying to go around behind there.
Still staying on the attack. Great scramble from Fugit to stay out of the takedown.
Absolutely beautiful defense. He brought bringing his hips with him, bringing his legs with him, not leaving anything behind for Ayala to grab onto. And with a minute left here in this second period, Ayala needing to find something. Got to find a takedown somewhere.
Under a minute remaining. Fugit with 58 seconds of riding time. That first period of ride really helped Fugit.
Indeed it did. Ayala still able to get out to avoid giving up the minute of riding time here.
Fugit returns a shot. Ayala able to sprawl out. One more shot from Fugit with 30 seconds remaining. Good sprawl by Ayala.
One thing Ayala, though, has to be careful of is all these shots from Fugit. He's not really taking much of his own. He gets one. He takes a shot of his own there. Holds off a potential stall call for the time being. Here with 15 to go in period number 2.
10 seconds remaining in the period. 3-2 in favor of Fugit.
Fugit himself is no slouch. He was the 14 seed at Nationals last year, where he scored an upset over current 141-pounder for the Hawkeyes, Nasir Bailey, 4-1 in sudden victory.
Nasir Bailey not in the lineup tonight for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Fugit back to his feet. Has a 2-point lead here in the final period. Ayala going to work great. Spin around by Fugit to stay out of the attack. We've seen some really good defense from the Badger.
He's looked absolutely stellar when it comes to his shot defense against the two-time runner-up.
Battling on the edge of the mat, they'll go out. And once again, we see that. Again, Ayala had a couple of chances there on the attack, but Fugit continues to dance around the shots. That time was able to pull Ayala out of the circle.
And with a minute 20 left, no stall calls against either wrestler. Fugit has a couple stall calls to burn here. But Ayala, he's got to get to his offense.
1 minute remaining in the final period. Single leg driving forward. Fugit sprawls out. Stays with the single leg, back to his feet. Drives forward. Covers up for 3 points. Drake Ayala takes his first lead of the match.
Absolutely beautiful shot. He worked it from an underhook. Took a fireman's carry. Bailed on the fireman's carry, resorted to the single leg, dumped Fugit.
This is a big 37 seconds for both of these wrestlers in their season. Fugit tries to get back to his feet. Ayala hangs on to the leg.
And there's the stall warning.
They'll be on Fugit. Ayala dragging him down to the mat. Spins around Fugit.
Fugit needs to drag that leg out of bounds. He's wasting precious time here.
Chris Bono in the Wisconsin Badger corner begging for a stall. No way! And they're going to award it.
They're going to award the escape point.
Now we have some more messes to figure out as Tom Brands comes out of his corner. Now Bono comes all the way across the mat. And Brands will throw the block.
I believe he's challenging loss of control, as Ayala had the leg the whole time. He's trying to establish, he's challenging loss of control.
So Brandt is saying that he was the one that tossed the brick, but it's Bono who's been talking the most with the referees. This is going to be another mess to figure out. We've had a couple of these tonight. What do you see here on the replay?
I see Ayala is still in control. He started on top. He is still in control. As long as he has that leg, he is still in control. He can take a stall warning, sure. But if you're calling that locked hands, I just don't see how that's a locked hands call. Because you're still in on the leg. There's no locked hands about it, in my opinion.
Now the referees will go to the monitors. As of right now, it's 6-5 in favor of Fugit with the escape point. And did they award also a stall point?
It wouldn't have been a stall point. The ref had his hands like this. That would have been a locked hands call.
And so that would be an escape and a locked hands call, similar to the call we just had at 125.
Yes, and I don't know if Tom is challenging the locked hands call or the loss of control here, because it's plain as day, as you see on the board. When they go down, he still has Fugit's leg. That's no loss of control. So there's the stall warning. So yeah, Ayala did get a stall warning. He put the green hand up. So there is a stall warning. But the question is, when you go there, is that locked hands, or what are we calling this?
All right, here comes the call. So it was a 5-second count on the stall. So they gave Fugit the escape and the stall call because the referee said there was a 5 count after the initial stall warning.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they went and reviewed it. The call is upheld. Expect stalling here from Fugit. He has nothing. He doesn't even have a warning.
There it
is. And with 2 seconds left, they're not going to call another one on him. And a takedown there at the end for Fugit.
Wow.
No takedown time was out.
They wiped it off.
But still,
wow.
That is still a huge win for Zan Fugit.
Holy cow.
The Carver crowd's not happy about it, but that's why you have to wrestle all the way through.
A wild sequence of events at the end of 133 and at the end of 125. Both ended up being the exact same call, but now we go to 141. For the Hawkeyes, it's Cale Peterson, and for the Badgers, it's Carson Exford. Peterson, a true sophomore, Exford, a redshirt freshman. And after all of that, we turn our attention here under the spotlight. No Nasir Bailey tonight at 141. Instead, Cale Peterson will take his spot there. Took third place at the Soldier Salute. Nasir Bailey did medically forfeit his match against Cale Peterson.
Some might have gone wrong there in that semifinal match he had with Isaiah Powell of Iowa Central. I mean, don't knock community colleges. They produce good wrestlers. Pretty sure Iowa Central is where future UFC Hall of Famer John Jones wrestled at.
So some history there, no doubt. Just a little bit. A minute gone here in the opening period. Cale Peterson, sophomore from Rockwell, Iowa, 23-6 career record. This season, 15-1, has been red hot to start the season. His lone loss was to Caden Riccardi of Navy at the Soldier Salute. There's a 3-point takedown for Peterson.
He actually avenged that loss on the consolation side of the bracket. On the championship side, he had that initial loss to Riccardi of Navy 7-2, but then came back on the backside, ended up avenging that loss in the same tournament. Not often you get to do something like that.
And this has all of a sudden become a really important bout here for the Iowa Hawkeyes, with Zan Fugit upsetting fourth-ranked Drake Ayala in a 6-5 decision. They now lead the team score 9-3. Probably not the situation the Hawkeyes thought they were going to be in.
I would not assume so. And you have to wonder, could the Hawkeyes could they have been overlooking Wisconsin with what's on the schedule next week? Penn State is literally right around the corner. Could the Hawkeyes have been overlooking Wisconsin?
Well, now it'll be on the shoulders of Cale Peterson here at 141 to try and punch back here for the Hawkeyes. But you got to give credit to the Wisconsin Badgers. Some big wins and a big upset, of course, at 133. tip your cap to Nicola Rivera for getting the job done against Ian Hernandez, who was able to fight off a major. Then Wyatt Ingham hanging on against Harvey Luddington for that to open up the match at 197.
Beautiful double leg shot there from Peterson. Exford did a great job of defending it. He's going to go around behind and get the 3.
Great roll through by Cale Peterson, and he takes a 6-1 lead right at the end of the first period.
That is just following the hips, staying good on top, not getting out of position. Cale Peterson able to get a couple takedowns to make it 6-1 after 1.
Last season as a redshirt freshman went 5-3. Took second place at the Soldiers Salute a year ago. And guess who he lost to last year at the Soldiers Salute?
Surprised me.
Drake Ayala, his own teammate, who would then go on to be the runner-up at the NCAA championships.
Very intriguing.
But now Peterson wrestling up a weight class this season from last year, and leading Exford 6-2 after the escape point.
Peterson putting it together an impressive resume so far this year, 7-1, as you mentioned. Exford not necessarily having the best of years so far.
2-3 on the season as a redshirt freshman.
He has wrestled some unattached matches, I believe. Those unattached matches is bringing him up to 5-6 on the year in total.
Under a minute remaining in this second period. Peterson still in front, 6-2. Riding time not a factor as of right now.
Peterson definitely looking for another takedown, being down by 6. Bonus points are crucial in any Big Ten duel, but especially when you're down by 6, you don't want to be down by that much heading into, or you don't even want to be down by 9 if it goes the other way, heading into intermission.
Cale Peterson in late December took an 8-6 win over Logan Swenson. Carson Exford, February of last year, lost to him in an 8-2 decision. As the second period will end, Peterson still leading 6-2.
It looked like he was going for a John Smith low single there, right there at the end of period number 2, trying to get that third takedown. But make no mistake for Exford, he's at D1 level for a reason. He was a 4-time Idaho State Wrestling Champion.
Good roll through by Peterson. Has the ankle wrapped up. Covers on top for a 2-point reversal.
It's a 6-point match now here for Peterson.
Would love some bonus points here if you're the Hawkeyes.
I think if you're Peterson right now, you have to understand, I need to cut and then get a takedown. Again, he's already rattled off 2 takedowns. He could very well get a third.
An escape for Exford makes it an 8-3 match. Minute remaining in the final period. Can Peterson step up and get some bonus points?
Saw that nice little fake shot there from Peterson. He's setting up that go-to of his.
Peterson heavy on the head. 40 seconds remaining.
The last thing you want to do here with under 40 seconds to go is just hang out in the collar tie position. You need to be going to your offense.
Attempted a couple of attacks. Hasn't been able to find much room yet. Exford playing good defense.
That was a good slide-by attempt there from Peterson. Getting him moving. There's a stall warning against Exford. I don't believe they'll zap him again. They need Peterson. Final 8 seconds here. He needs a shot.
He's in the single leg. Can he get back up? Rolls over. One more chance at it at the buzzer. Did not award him the points.
They might review this. The ref is going to review it. No challenge needed.
This is going to be close. An official review, Cale Peterson no doubt will walk away with a victory, but can he pick up some bonus points?
Good win for Cale Peterson, stepping out, getting the Hawkeyes back into this. But there's a very big difference between 3 points and 4 points here.
Now, first question is, did he complete the takedown? Then the second question is, was it in time?
It is really hard to tell here. Let's see what the ref says.
Time was out, so Zargo can continue the momentum for the Badgers against Ryder Block, who's been having a heck of a season up to this point.
Ryder Block has exploded onto the affray this year. After last year, I don't know how much if people were expecting this, but the consensus in the room has been like, oh, we've known this has been a long time coming.
Here's a quick attack here by Zargo, but Block able to battle out of it and stay on his feet. Ryder Block, a sophomore, 6-1 this season. Picked up a pin against Cade Craig of Utah Valley at the Journeyman Wrestling Uncivil War. He has the single leg of Zargo. Sweep single, covers up on top for 3 points.
Beautiful trip of the leg, great finish. Zargo was giving him enough space where he couldn't turn the knee to the inside and run through him. And Block's reach with his legs, able to get the trip and the takedown.
A quick start for Ryder Block. Last season went 2-4 as a redshirt freshman. And like you said, internally there's a lot of noise around this guy. Externally it was like we were waiting to see that. And this season, Ryder Block, like you said, just exploded onto the scene and now has a chance here to pick up a ranked win against Zargo.
He's definitely exploded into potential All-American contender when it reaches March. Potentially more. Nice mat return there from Block. Block, he's currently on a 4-match winning streak with that last loss. His only loss on the season coming to Ethan Stiles, or number 4 ranked Ethan Stiles of Ohio State, 3-2 back at the national duels.
And that is really when I feel like this season fans started to recognize Ryder Block, was at that national duels. Picked up a win against 6th-ranked Josh Edmond, picked up a win against 3rd-ranked Casey Swiderski of Oklahoma State. I mean, he had a massive national duels, which really put him under the national spotlight.
Absolutely. There's no better place to thrive than on the national spotlight, on the national stage. And Ryder Block went down to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and made a name for himself.
But Joseph Zargo, definitely a tough opponent. This season, 8-1, a redshirt senior, trying to make a name for himself once the postseason comes around.
He's currently on a 7-match win streak. Highest bonus rate I've seen out of any wrestler this year. 90% bonus rate. Think about that, 90% bonus rate. That means in 10 matches, he's getting bonus points in 9 of those.
Incredible. Ryder Block will have his hands full, but leading 3-1. Iowa was looking for a stall call on that last push out. Block nearly had that knee wrapped up, now goes right back to it, but Zargo playing great defense.
Nice little throw by there from Block to try to pass that collar tie and get to leg. You see a great snap down here with 10 seconds left in the first period on the edge of the mat.
Trying to get back to that right leg. Zargo staying on his feet, now goes in for an attack on Block, but time will expire in the first period. Feels like a storyline tonight for the Badgers has been how good their defense has been against the attacks from the Hawkeyes.
They've had pretty excellent shot defense. They've given up a few takedowns, obviously, in wins we saw with Ben Keeter, Cale Peterson getting takedowns. Now Ryder Block, Drake Ayala even got a takedown. So it's not like the Iowa offense isn't there, but Wisconsin has done an equally stellar job of shot defense.
Block starting down in the second period.
Actually, looking at my notes here, he has wrestled 10 matches this year, being 9-1. All 9 of his wins came by bonus point victories. Nice switch into the leg to get the reversal here for Block.
Now a 4-point lead for Ryder Block.
Block, he's got 3 bonus point victories in among this 4-match winning streak, including a pinfall win in his last match against Cade Craig of Utah Valley back at Journeyman Uncivil War.
Zargo can't find a shot. Block brings him up high. Zargo back in. Now Block back in on the re-attack on the edge of the mat. Can he drag him back into the circle?
Ooh, that reshot was pretty on the edge of the mat there from Ryder Block, getting in deep on that single leg. He's got to elevate it, try to drag him back in. Zargo going to whizzer down hard. Maybe try to wrestle for a stalemate here.
Block back to his feet with 30 seconds left. Zargo trying to drag him out. Block just hanging on.
He's trying to work up the back here, dragging his toes. Eventually realizes, okay, this is just going to be a stalemate. Might as well bring my feet out.
Great re-attacks from Ryder Block here in this second period, but all of them have been on the edge of the mat. This will be a big help for him.
And again, we've seen it. Zargo, beautiful defense on the edge of the mat, good mat awareness, gives up the shot, lets Block get in deep on the leg, but doesn't give up the 3.
Zargo looking for that right leg. Block fires through the double leg, but Zargo able to sprawl out. And out of bounds with 4 seconds left in the second period.
That was a great double head, kind of head on with Zargo's body. Got to get that head to the outside, but still beautiful chain wrestling. Goes from the double, can't finish the double, results and gets in on that single leg to end that second period.
Now if you're Joseph Zargo down by 3, Ryder Block with over 40 seconds of riding time, what does Zargo need to do to fight his way back into this match?
Well, a reversal would be huge, but from the looks of it, he's only been able to manage 2 escapes so far against Block. Look for a potentially 3rd escape here from Zargo to get back in it, but then he needs to get to his offense and get a takedown.
We need a mic on Terry Brands. That's what we need. We could kind of hear him through our headsets.
Maybe
Zargo.
not on him because he might throw it.
Yeah.
But like near his chair, because I never see him sit down.
No. They have a chair there for him, but he doesn't use it. Zargo brings it back to the 2-point match. Block trying to sprawl out of this attack from Zargo. That'll lead to a stalemate. Back to their feet.
Zargo did a good job of transitioning to that single leg, similar to how Block did. Shot initially a double, but then transitioned to that single leg.
Zargo trying to work down toward the legs. Has the left leg of Block. 3-point takedown. Joseph Zargo, a massive takedown in the third period.
And now that he's on top, that minute that Ryder Block did have a riding time is now underneath. Look, expect a tough ride here from Joseph Zargo. If Block can get out, it'll be tied.
Here we go, tied at 6, 50 seconds remaining. Massive takedown by Zargo. Can Ryder Block fight back? Edge of the mat wrestling.
All of the momentum right now is with Joseph Zargo after picking up that last takedown. And look at him. He gets back to that center so quickly. Block maybe taking a little bit of time to catch his breath. He has to be careful, though. A ref could call that a stall warning.
Snap down by Block. Heavy on the head, 30 seconds remaining.
This comes down to a battle of wills right here. All that hard work in the practice room. This is where it pays off. Tied match with 20 seconds left in the third period.
Block staying heavy on the head. Back to his feet. 10 seconds remaining.
Zargo stalking, block to the edge of the mat. He gets in on the single leg. Couple seconds too late. We're going to overtime here at 149.
Our second sudden victory match of the night. First one, Ben Keeter came back with a takedown against Bracton Amos. Sudden victory, tied at 6. First one to score will win the match.
Riding time not a factor here. Zargo has him in a front headlock. That's how he got his takedown last time. Was just, tried to go with a duck under. Now in a scramble situation on the edge of the mat. We stay neutral.
Great re-attacks, great scrambles. Carver Hawkeye trying to get behind their 149-pounder.
Carver doesn't get loud on accident. They can tell when something's gonna happen.
Block able to battle out of that attack from Zargo. Blocked, in on a single leg. Zargo spins around and has the leg himself. Spins on top of Ryder Block, who still has that leg of Zargo wrapped up.
That's the only reason Zargo doesn't have the takedown, is because Block is holding on to that leg.
This will be a tough position.
Oh, there's
Zargo.
They call a takedown.
Wow, Joseph Zargo, 3-point takedown and sudden victory. And the Wisconsin Badgers have stunned this Carver Hawkeye crowd. Step up big time. He will face 25th ranked Luke Meckler, redshirt senior, 9-2 this season, as the Badgers are red hot. Meckler in on a single leg on the Soldier Salute champion.
Before we went on air, I told you a nice little fun fact about these two. These two were in the room 2 years ago together down in Stillwater. I know that because my brother wrestled at Oklahoma State for a year. But these two always going hard in the room. It'll be intriguing to see how this plays out here in Carver Hawkeye Arena.
Scramble. Williams hanging on to that left leg of Meckler. No points awarded yet. Williams working back the other way. Can he get back to his feet?
He looked in trouble. It looked like this was Meckler's takedown, but now he has the leg. He's got that single leg on the shelf on the edge of the mat. Look for him to bring him in and secure this 3 to take an early lead.
Dragging him back onto the mat. Jordan Williams hanging on to that right leg of Meckler.
He's got to work his way behind. He's trying to reach up the body. That whizzer there from Meckler has been, that's the difference maker here in not giving up points and giving up a takedown.
Right on the edge of the mat, keeps his toes in bound. 3-point takedown for Jordan Williams.
Scramble situation here on the mat. Ref calls locked hands.
Wow.
And an escape.
That's the third time tonight that the referees have called that. This time it would be a 2-point swing in favor of Meckler to bring this match back within 1.
But this is why we have 2 refs. One makes a call, the other confirms the call. And if they can't confirm it, that's when we go to replay.
Well, it looks like they've only given him the 1 point. So it's still 3-1 in favor of Williams. Williams back in on a shot on the single leg.
Very quick, very beautiful shot from open space for Jordan Williams. Look for Meckler to try to create a danger situation here, or a scramble situation. Belay my last, while Williams tries to put Meckler in danger. Maybe get some back points out of this.
Williams trying to stay in control. Meckler working back. Williams back on top of Meckler. Has to spin around for 3 points, but Meckler starting to drive.
These two know each other very well from their time spent in the room down in Stillwater.
Williams working back to the right leg of Meckler. Short time in the opening period.
Just when you think One of them's going to get a takedown. The other creates a scramble situation that puts them in favor of getting the takedown. Jordan Williams trying to secure one here with 5 seconds left.
Gonna have to go quickly. Williams, one last attempt, but time expires. So now the table is gonna ask to make sure that they have the score right. Brand's asking to make sure that it was a stall call.
You might be able to hear assistant coach Terry Brands in my mic. He is.
Okay, so a stall call, but no locked hands.
So just the escape point. Terry expressing his displeasure with the officials. I've been there as a coach of girls high school wrestling. I can understand, displeasure with officials' calls, but unfortunately, stripes will always get the last say.
This will be a big match for the Hawkeyes. Jordan Williams, a big get for the Iowa Hawkeyes in the offseason. Transferred in from Little Rock.
He's a former Big 12 champion. That Big 12 title win came over Casey Swiderski a couple years ago when Swiderski was at Iowa State.
Trying to work back to his feet. Meckler still hanging on to the torso. Now Williams will escape. Meckler transferred in from Oklahoma State, entering his first season he transferred in last year from Oklahoma State. Posted an 11-17 record last year, and has been off to an electric start in year 2 with the Badgers, 9-2.
That's an understatement. That's a turnaround. 11-17 record last year to 9-2 right now. What a turnaround for Meckler.
Looking for a statement win in front of the Hawkeye crowd.
Jordan Williams, his last loss on the year came at the Cyhawk duel against number 3 Vinny Zerban by major decision 11-3. He was the 8 seed last year at 149. He wrestled Caleb Henson, who everybody thought was a shoo-in to win the national championship last year. Wrestled him to sudden victory.
Tough position for Williams. Meckler still going to work on the leg. Williams hanging on to the ankle.
You're never going to get a, quote, easy win over Jordan Williams. He's scrappy enough. He's going to make it tough every time you toe the line with Jordan Williams.
Short time in the second period. Williams still leading 4-1. And potentially dangerous is called foot of Meckler right in the face of Jordan Williams. And they'll have 8.3 on the clock.
Williams one match away from placing last year at Nationals, almost earning All-American status for Little Rock, but lost in the blood round to the 11 seed Sammy Alvarez of Ryder last year. You know he's going to be looking to get All-American status with the Hawkeyes.
Third period. Luke Meckler will go down. Meckler will have to work quickly here against Williams. He's proven tough on defense.
You can see Coach Bono, he's applauding his wrestler Meckler. His Badgers have showed up today against the Hawkeyes. They've shown up ready to compete and ready to potentially walk away with an upset duel win.
Meckler trying to get around Williams.
Very aggressive front headlock there from Meckler.
Meckler can't find a clean shot. Look at the defense from Jordan Williams.
He's able to touch those legs but not bring those legs in, as we see a nice straight on double there from Jordan Williams.
Good dance around by Williams, able to swing right by the attack of Meckler.
Yeah, but he just did something that, as a coach, I'm never in favor of when I see a wrestler do this. You don't need to look up the clock. You know you're winning. Don't worry about the time. Just go out and wrestle.
Williams hanging on to the torso. Able to spin Meckler. Trying to pick up another takedown here. Still no points.
There's a good body lock from Jordan Williams to defend this, trying to work for a stalemate. Looks like Meckler's trying to put him in danger.
Williams still hanging on to the torso. Meckler able to work down to the ankles. Back in a tough spot is Williams.
Meckler needs this takedown, being down by 2.
Can he beat the buzzer? Under 20 seconds remaining. Meckler working back to the torso. Williams hanging on for dear life. 10 seconds remaining. Meckler continuing to work. Williams trying to hang on. Meckler, one last chance. No point.
Wow. What a defense there from Jordan Williams to hold on to the 4-2 win.
Chris Boho does throw the challenge block, so the referees will take a look at the final flurry. But Luke Meckler with a chance right at the end. Trying to min it at the final moments.
There's no takedown there, as we see here on this replay, as he looks like he's trying to cover there before time is expired. Those legs just slip away completely from Meckler.
And he gave everything that he had. Jordan Williams had to as well to fend off the final attacks of Luke Meckler. They were in that scramble for a good 30 seconds. And Williams was able to fight him off for net.
When you need bonus points, Mikey Caliendo is one you can count on.
He's going to have his hands full, though. Cody Gable put together a heck of a redshirt sophomore season a year ago. Went 9-8 overall, but competed at the NCAA championships. Went 4-2 at the Big Ten championships, and he's been putting together a heck of a season, 5-2 to start off the 2025-26 year.
Obviously, very impressive to get to the Nationals as a redshirt freshman. Didn't go how it wanted to go, went 0-2 barbecue, but he's looking to hopefully change that this year. He is poised to improve upon that losing record last year. And he's another homegrown talent for Wisconsin, this Wisconsin native of Gable.
Caliendo deep in on a shot and finishes with 3 more points.
3 first period takedowns for Caliendo. Almost just sounds natural to say.
It really does, especially with what Mikey Caliendo has been able to put together in his time with the Iowa Hawkeyes since transferring over from North Dakota State. Under 45 seconds remaining in the opening period, Mikey looking for some more points here as a stall warning is called against Gable. He'll cut him loose.
One of the biggest things about Caliendo when it comes to how he is wrestling on top, we've seen it with other Iowa wrestlers as he gets his 4th takedown of the first period. You know, he isn't looking for the pin right away unless he gets his opponent in a position where he can go for it. He is looking to break you down mentally, physically, until he can turn you over and get that fall.
That's how the first period will end. 4 takedowns for Mikey Caliendo. He leads 12-3 in over a minute and a half of riding time.
It's certainly impressive every time he steps out. Next week, Friday here in Carver, he's going to have a good one with Messenbrink. But the question for him is, can he finally get over the hump that is Mitchell Messenbrink?
His focus is on Gable right now, though, looking for some massive bonus points for the Hawkeyes. Wisconsin Badgers came looking to break a long-standing winning streak for the Iowa Hawkeyes. And they put up a heck of a fight, but Mikey Caliendo finds his 5th takedown of the match, looking for a turn. And he'll cut him loose.
He almost had it. You know, Wisconsin didn't show up here to just survive. They showed up here to wrestle position by position and steal momentum.
This has turned into a cut and shoot match for Mikey Caliendo. Cuts him loose again, right back to an attack. Gable doing all he can, but another three-point takedown for Mikey Caliendo, and that closes the book on 165.
Absolutely stellar wrestling from whistle to whistle for Mikey Caliendo. We've come to expect this for him. His third tech fall in his last 5 matches.
5 for 5 on bonus point victories. 3 of them have been tech falls against ranked opponents. Now to 174, a legend in the making at the University of Iowa. Third-ranked Patrick Kennedy will take center stage against Luke Condon.
This is one of those familiar opponent battles. Kennedy, these two have wrestled before, with Kennedy winning their last match by tech fall and being up by 2, I should say. If he's able to get another tech fall on Condon, Iowa, after struggling early on in the duel, will have locked the duel up.
This is Iowa's first lead of the match, now up by 2 on the Wisconsin Badgers. They tied it early on when Keeter was able to pick up a sudden victory win over Braxton Amos. But then Nicolas Rivera came back with the win, followed up by Zan Fugit's massive upset win over Drake Ayala. That will be one of the big storylines coming out of this match. And Wisconsin has led up until the last one at 165 when Mikey Caliendo picked up a tech fall, and now the Hawkeyes with a 2-point lead.
And Kennedy's not afraid to go score points either. He can get bonus points as well. He has 3 bonus point victories in his last 3 matches, including the last 2 wins coming via tech fall.
Kennedy, a Hawkeye lifer. It was talked about a lot leading up to this Wisconsin match about how Patrick Kennedy, through all the years, he's a 5th year now with Iowa, he had to really fight for his spot in this lineup. Each and every year he was battling. It was always somebody who, it was going to be Patrick Kennedy or somebody else. And he's through it all, he stuck with the Iowa Hawkeyes. And head coach Tom Brand said, you don't see that much anymore this day and age in college athletics.
Gets in on a nice single, able to get around and get that first takedown of the match. The one thing from his lone loss to MJ Gation that I'd like to see better of Patrick Kennedy is his gas tank. In years prior, his gas tank hasn't always been the best. It looked like his gas tank was finally turning a corner at the beginning of the year. But then when he wrestled MJ Gation of Iowa State, it just looked non-existent. He didn't look like the All-American he is, with a beautiful blast double on the edge of the mat.
Pure power from Patrick Kennedy. Couple of takedowns in the opening period. Looking to match what his teammate Mikey Caliendo did just a few minutes ago.
And his opponent, Lucas Condon, he's won 4 of his last 5 matches, including the last 2. His only loss over that span was the number 33 ranked Avery Bassett of Lockhaven in sudden victory 9-6, as we see another takedown for Patrick Kennedy.
It's like clockwork for him and Caliendo. Cut and then shoot again. This time Kennedy will look for a turn with 30 seconds remaining.
Expect a tough ride here from Kennedy. He's not just going to give up the escape that easily.
What would it mean for this senior class and Patrick Kennedy, Mikey Caliendo, Drake Ayala to be able to go out in a blaze of glory in front of the home crowd? Of course, you know, we just entered Big Ten play, but these 3 for the Iowa Hawkeyes have constantly been right at the top of the national rankings and have really made a name for themselves in the black and gold.
Indeed, they have. I think it'd be absolutely amazing for them to go out in a blaze of glory, maybe win a national championship on their way out, but they have some work to do. As we mentioned at 133, you know, you have Ben Davino, now you have Zan Fugit, Evan Frost, and Lucas Bird that Ayala has to figure out how to get wins over. Kennedy, his lone loss on the year to LaDarian Lockett of Oklahoma State. He'll get a rematch at the end of the year with Lockett, try to get maybe a revenge match there. But then he's got to figure out a way to beat Messenbrink. And now Kennedy, he's at a stout 174 division that features Levi Haynes, who he will see next week. If he can get a win over Haynes next week, Patrick Kennedy has a legitimate shot at ending his career as a Hawkeye as a national champion.
He said, of course you're, you know, happy with fourth place and getting a medal at the NCAA championships, but he's not satisfied with that. He said, I wasn't satisfied with that. I want to go out there and try and be on top of the podium at the NCAA championships. That's what you dream of. You don't dream of taking fourth place. You dream of being on top of the podium, and that's Kennedy's goal this season.
That's almost what's expected when you come to the University of Iowa. It's almost expected that you end the year on top of the podium.
30 seconds remaining in the second period. It's been all Patrick Kennedy. He's had a similar match to Mikey Caliendo at 165, but Kennedy's been looking for more turns. He's been less quick to, or less reluctant to cut loose Luke Condon.
He's a very aggressive wrestler on top, and when he gets those turns, he has them in tight. As we're going to end this second period with him up by 10. Needing just 5 more points to secure that Tech Fall win.
Final period at 174. Patrick Kennedy in the driver's seat, up 13-3 in over a minute 50 of riding time.
You know, Kennedy's going to look for the turn, but if it's not there, you know he has enough wrestling IQ to cut Condon and go get those takedowns to hopefully secure that Tech Fall.
See how long his corner allows him to continue to wrestle on top if they're going to ask him to cut him loose.
You know, Kennedy wrestled above his seed last year at Nationals. He was seeded number 11, finished 4th. His losses at the tournament came to eventual national champion Dean Hamady of Oklahoma State in the quarterfinals 8-6, and then of course, losing to Levi Haynes in that third place match by major decision 11-3.
Kennedy still riding out Luke Condon, not allowing him to get back to his feet. He just does not want to cut him loose.
He's got a great thigh pry ride going for him. We've seen that a lot from Patrick Kennedy, going to that thigh pry.
Final 30 seconds of the 174 bout. Kennedy will continue to ride.
These last 2 wrestlers, as well as the one coming up, is the reason why I've said Iowa has a great back half of the lineup. Kennedy had the cradle locked up, but Condon able to break that grip, and it's going to be a major decision win with 3 minutes of riding time, making it 14-3. Major decision win for Patrick Kennedy. He adds 4 more tools that are going to prove their medal. It's going to be exciting.
As now we turn our attention to Angelo Ferrari, number 1 in the country at 184 pounds, and for the Wisconsin Badgers, it is Caleb Denis. 8-2 redshirt junior for the Badgers, going up against number 1 in the country, Angelo Ferrari. Ferrari 8-0, coming off a tech fall win and a decision win at the Journeyman Wrestling Uncivil War. He tech fall Landon Jones of Chattanooga and picked up a 4-1 decision win over Caleb Uhlenhop of Utah Valley.
He's looking great early on in his career. Perhaps his biggest win so far of his young career came down at the National Duels, where he beat current number 2 and also freshman, don't know if it's redshirt or true, but freshman Aiden Sinclair of Missouri, 3-2, an ultimate tiebreaker. And that lone loss that he has in his career came in a 3-1 decision loss to the 5-time national champion Carter Starocci.
Ferrari picks up a 3-point takedown on Denis, looking to close out this match with an exclamation point. Wisconsin was leading for most of the match, but once we got to 165, Mikey Caliendo a tech fall, and then Patrick Kennedy a major decision. Denis would need a massive upset over Angelo Ferrari to make this thing interesting.
Never say never. Matches aren't won on paper, they're won on the mat.
And that's been proven more than once here tonight. We continue to go back to Zan Fuget's win over Drake Ayala. Joseph Zargo an upset win over 7th-ranked Ryder Block at 149. I mean, there, Wisconsin has truly proven that they can hang with some of the best in the Big Ten. Ferrari, another 3-point takedown, takes a 6-1 lead.
Expect a tough ride here, potentially, with 45 seconds left. If Angelo feels like he could get another takedown, he'll cut him and get it. Caleb Deneen, true freshman. He's a 2-time state finalist in the state of Wisconsin. 3-time state place winner, 2-time Fargo All-American. Was also second place at the World Team Trials.
Short time, 10 seconds remaining. Denis trying to stay out of a shot here against Ferrari. Angelo still working short time, but that's how the first period will end. A 6-1 lead for the top-ranked wrestler at 184.
You can see it a little bit, Angelo expressing frustration with the fact that Deneen doesn't seem to want to do anything underneath. And I know Angelo has that mentality of, if you're not going to move underneath, I'm going to make you move.
And on a single leg, wraps him up, takes him down for 3 points.
Absolute beautiful chain wrestling. Shoots a single leg, transitions, and finishes with the double.
Cuts him loose. Back in on the single leg. Stall warning on Denis. Ferrari wraps up the ankles and has 3 more points. Will cut him loose again. Looking for a tech fall at 184 to close out the match.
He has 2 tech fall wins already this season. Could be looking to get a 3rd here against Denis of Wisconsin.
Ferrari working back to the single leg, picks him up. Can't quite get the sweep single, but will work him down to the mat for 3 more points.
Now when you're up by 11, this is where you look for bonus. Look at, see if you can get the pin. He's got a cradle, inside cradle locked up.
Boy, with this, bring this crowd to its feet. It's been a roller coaster of a night with how Wisconsin has battled and Angelo Ferrari. Looking to put an exclamation point on the Hawkeyes. Potential victory here as Angelo Ferrari dominating here at 184. Iowa looking for their 14th win in a row against the Badgers.
Well, the Badgers have no slouch of a schedule coming up either, as we get blood time here for Angelo Ferrari's lips.
In their near future.
Good matchups for their heavyweight. Braxton Amos ahead for the Badgers, as well as Zan Fugit, who picked up that upset win over Drake Ayala tonight. He'll have some good matches down the road for the Badgers.
15-4 lead for Ferrari. Stall again on Denis. That'll give 1 point to Ferrari, plus he finishes the takedown, and a tech fall for Angelo Ferrari. Even Brands turns around and asks to double check. That was the correct scoring, but Ferrari picks up another tech fall win in his redshirt freshman year, and the Hawkeyes stamp another W, make that 14 in a row against the Badgers.
Absolutely beautiful second half of wrestling. Well, I should say, last 3-4 matches for the Hawkeyes, they really showed up and sold out to walk away with a huge dual win.
You got to give credit to the Badgers, though. They hung in tough with some massive upsets. Zan Fugit and Joseph Sargo upsetting